Faith is one of the most personal parts of human life. It shapes how we see God, purpose, and our relationship with the world. When Muslims and Christians speak about God, they often use different words, but many times they are asking the same deep questions. Who is God? How close is He to us? And what does He ask from humanity? In this video, we explore the concept of the Trinity from an Islamic perspective, not to argue, but to understand. This is a respectful conversation, guided by reflection, clarity, and sincerity. Whether you are Christian, Muslim, or simply curious, this discussion is an invitation to listen thoughtfully and reflect deeply.
Every heart has a story, and every story holds a lesson of faith. This is Faith Stories with Mufti M.Abdullah.
When people speak about religion, they often begin with disagreement. They focus on boundaries, definitions, and differences. Yet wisdom teaches us that understanding does not begin by arguing over where lines are drawn, but by asking why human beings search for meaning at all. Muslims and Christians come from different histories, different languages, and different cultures, yet both stand within a long human tradition of turning toward God in moments of weakness, gratitude, fear, and hope. This turning is not accidental. It is rooted in a shared human awareness that life is fragile, temporary, and deeply significant. Both faiths teach that human life is not random, that existence carries purpose, that actions are not meaningless movements in time, but moral choices with consequences. This belief alone shapes entire civilizations. In both traditions, God is not distant entertainment for the curious mind, but a moral presence, a witness, a judge, a source of mercy, a reminder that power does not belong solely to kings, governments, or wealth. This awareness restrains arrogance. It humbles the strong. It gives dignity to the weak. A poor man who believes his Creator sees him is not truly invisible. A woman who believes her suffering is known is not truly abandoned. This shared belief has given strength to millions across centuries. Muslims and Christians are both taught that faith is not proven by words alone. It must be reflected in character. Truthfulness, patience, forgiveness, and restraint are not optional virtues, they are expectations. In both traditions, anger is warned against, not because injustice does not exist, but because uncontrolled anger corrupts justice itself. It blinds judgment and hardens hearts. Mercy is praised repeatedly, not as weakness, but as moral strength. The ability to forgive when revenge is possible is described as noble in both faiths. Family holds sacred value in both communities. Parents are to be honored, not merely respected. Care for the elderly is seen as duty, not burden. Children are viewed as trusts, not possessions. The breakdown of family is not treated lightly in either tradition, because when families collapse, societies soon follow. Both Muslims and Christians are reminded that wealth is a test, not a reward by itself. Money is neither evil nor proof of divine favor. It is a responsibility. Those who hoard are warned. Those who give are praised. Those who exploit the vulnerable are condemned. Charity is not portrayed as generosity alone, but as justice, a recognition that what we have is not entirely ours, that blessing carries obligation. Prayer holds a central place in both paths. Though outward forms differ, the inward purpose is similar: to pause, to remember, to realign the heart away from ego and toward accountability. Prayer interrupts arrogance. It forces the believer to admit dependence, to kneel, bow, or stand in humility. In moments of prayer, social status disappears. The wealthy and the poor stand equally small before the Creator. This experience shapes inner character in quiet ways that laws alone cannot. Both traditions speak about the dangers of hypocrisy, of appearing righteous while acting unjustly, of performing rituals while harming others. Such behavior is not excused by religious identity. In fact, it is judged more severely. This shared moral warning is deeply relevant today, because faith without integrity becomes a tool of harm. Muslims and Christians are also united by the belief that history is not endless, that time moves toward conclusion, that there will be a final reckoning. This belief changes how power is viewed. A ruler who knows he will answer to God rules differently. A judge who believes in accountability judges differently. A merchant who fears divine justice trades differently. The idea of a final day teaches patience to the oppressed and restraint to the powerful. It reminds humanity that no injustice escapes notice forever. Suffering is addressed with honesty in both traditions. Neither promises a life free of hardship. Instead, both teach that trials refine the soul. Patience is not passive resignation. It is active endurance guided by trust. Both Muslims and Christians believe that God draws near to the brokenhearted, that suffering is not proof of abandonment. Often it is the place where faith deepens. This shared understanding has comforted the sick, the imprisoned, the poor, and the forgotten for centuries. Both traditions also warn against moral relativism, the idea that truth changes with convenience. They insist that certain values remain firm regardless of time or culture. Justice matters even when it is inconvenient. Truth matters even when it is unpopular. Life matters even when it is fragile. Human dignity is not based on race, wealth, or nationality. It is rooted in creation itself. This belief stands in contrast to modern systems that measure worth by productivity or influence. Muslims and Christians also share a long history of scholarship, preserving knowledge, studying ethics, asking deep questions about existence, morality, and responsibility. Faith in both traditions is not blind ignorance. It encourages reflection, contemplation, the pursuit of wisdom. Silence, too, holds value. Moments of stillness where the soul listens rather than speaks. Both traditions caution against excessive attachment to the world, not because the world is evil, but because obsession with it blinds the heart. Success is not condemned, but arrogance is. Comfort is not sinful, but forgetfulness is. Death is remembered, not to create fear, but clarity. It teaches proportion. It reminds people what truly matters. When Muslims and Christians forget these shared foundations, conflict grows louder. When they remember them, dialogue becomes possible. Peace does not require agreement on every doctrine. It requires recognition of shared moral ground. Wisdom does not demand sameness. It demands sincerity, humility, and restraint. Perhaps the greatest common ground is this: both faiths teach that the human heart is capable of great good and great harm, and that guidance is necessary. In a world increasingly driven by noise, speed, and outrage, this shared wisdom feels more relevant than ever. The question is not which community is closer to God. That judgment belongs to God alone. The question is whether believers reflect the values they claim to hold. When humility replaces arrogance,
when mercy restrains anger, when justice guides power, and when faith produces character rather than conflict, then humanity moves closer to peace. Not because differences disappear, but because wisdom rises above them.
At some point, every civilization reaches a moment of self-questioning, not about technology or power, but about meaning, about whether progress without wisdom is truly progress at all. Muslims and Christians stand within traditions that ask uncomfortable questions, questions modern life often avoids, questions about desire, restraint, truth, and the limits of human authority. Both faiths insist that the human mind, though remarkable, is not self-sufficient, that intelligence without moral guidance becomes dangerous, that knowledge without humility eventually turns against the knower. This is not a rejection of reason, it is a recognition of its boundaries. In both traditions, wisdom begins when a person admits that they are not the center of existence, that the universe does not revolve around personal desire, emotion, or opinion, that truth exists independently of approval. This belief quietly challenges modern assumptions. It questions the idea that morality can be endlessly reshaped without consequence. It asks whether freedom without responsibility is freedom at all. Both Muslims and Christians are taught that the self must be disciplined, not suppressed, but guided, because an undisciplined self does not liberate, it consumes. Desire, when unchecked, promises happiness, but delivers restlessness. Power, when unrestrained, claims order, but creates fear. Pleasure, when idolized, weakens the soul. These are not abstract warnings. They are observations drawn from human history. Both traditions view the heart as a battleground, a place where pride and humility struggle quietly, where sincerity competes with performance, where intention matters as much as action. This inner struggle is not viewed as failure, it is viewed as the condition of being human. The goal is not perfection, it is alignment. Alignment between belief and behavior, between private intention and public action, between what is professed and what is practiced. In both faiths, hypocrisy is considered more dangerous than disbelief because it wears the mask of virtue while hollowing it out from within. Silence is given philosophical weight in both traditions. Not all truths are spoken loudly. Some are realized only when noise is reduced. A person who never pauses to reflect eventually becomes a stranger to themselves. Muslims and Christians inherit traditions that slow time. Through prayer, through fasting, through remembrance. These practices interrupt consumption. They resist distraction. They create space for conscience to speak. Modern life rarely encourages this space. It rewards reaction over reflection, speed over depth, certainty over wisdom. Both traditions quietly resist this pressure by teaching that not every question demands an immediate answer, that some truths unfold slowly through patience and sincerity. Suffering in both paths is not romanticized, but it is not dismissed either. Pain becomes a teacher, loss becomes a mirror, limitations become invitations to humility. A life without hardship may feel fortunate, but it often lacks depth. Those who suffer are not told their pain is meaningless. They are told it is seen, and that endurance carries unseen weight. Both Muslims and Christians believe that history bends toward moral reckoning, that injustice accumulates consequences, that cruelty cannot permanently disguise itself as strength. This belief offers hope without illusion. It does not deny evil, it limits it. Power is viewed skeptically in both traditions, not rejected, but restrained. Authority is justified only when it serves justice. Leadership is considered a burden before it is an honor. Accountability is placed above entitlement. This philosophy challenges both tyranny and apathy.
It refuses to worship rulers, and it refuses to excuse silence in the face of wrongdoing. Both traditions emphasize intention, because two identical actions can carry opposite moral weight depending on why they are done. This inward focus creates moral depth. It shifts ethics from appearance to sincerity. The human being is not reduced to productivity. Worth is not measured solely by output. Life is not a transaction. Instead, dignity is inherent, given, not earned. This idea quietly confronts systems that commodify people, that reduce value to usefulness, that discard the weak when efficiency demands it. Both Muslims and Christians believe that remembrance protects the soul. To remember God, to remember death, to remember responsibility. Forgetting in these traditions is not harmless. It is the root of moral decay. When people forget accountability, they justify anything. When they forget mortality, they postpone goodness indefinitely. When they forget God, they elevate themselves. Perhaps the deepest shared philosophy is this, that the world is meaningful but not ultimate, important but not absolute. This balance prevents despair and arrogance alike. One does not abandon the world, nor does one worship it. Life becomes a trust. Time becomes a responsibility. Freedom becomes a test. In a divided age, this shared wisdom is easily overlooked, yet it remains quietly present, waiting to be rediscovered. Not as a political tool, not as a weapon of debate, but as a path toward inner clarity. The future of coexistence may not depend on agreement, but whether believers allow their deepest teachings to shape their character. Because when faith becomes wisdom, when belief produces restraint, when certainty humbles rather than hardens, then difference no longer demands hostility, and humanity moves closer, not to sameness, but to understanding.
Conversations about faith do not have to create distance. When approached with humility, they can create understanding. Islam and Christianity share a long spiritual history, one rooted in belief in God, moral responsibility, and hope in divine mercy. While differences exist, sincere dialogue allows those differences to be explored with respect rather than fear. The Islamic perspective presented here is not meant to challenge personal belief, but to explain how Muslims understand God's oneness and the role of His prophets. If this reflection encouraged thoughtful consideration, then it has served its purpose. Thank you for listening with an open heart. May our search for truth always be guided by wisdom, respect, and peace.
If this story touched your heart, share it, because faith grows when shared.